Travis Wingoodzell, it's the Church News video time. In Isaiah, there's some interesting switch off of wording that you do not catch in English. When he starts off in chapter 1 with a vision, that's one particular spelling in Hebrew. When he talks about a dream, that's another word spelling in Hebrew. In chapter 6, we see saw again, but this time it's a different spelling. Yet again, 3 different words for vision used by the author of Isaiah. A prophet is one who predicts the future. Thus, a prophecy is of a future predicted event. You cannot be called a prophet if you do not prophesy. Isaiah is called a prophet. The whole book is sectioned out for those who are prophets. Isaiah leads the pack as a major prophet that was included by the Christians. And then you have the minor prophets. There's a big difference in understanding. All of these are predicting the future. So yes, Christians with first creed of Christianity went back over the scriptures written by Jews during the Roman period time after the destruction of the temple, second temple, and claimed that they're now all literal history. And in so doing, they now deny prophecy and revelation, because those also are prophecy of a future Christ, not Jesus of the past, because that would be stupid of them to claim that he's the Savior of the Jews, the Christ of the Jews, as he failed and the Jews were utterly destroyed along with their temple. If that's the Christ, I want nothing to do with that Christ. But Christians took him up. So it's kind of important. And so the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints likewise embraces the first creed of Christianity. They just change the nature and character of Jesus. And in so doing, they turned Joseph Smith's visionary accounts into literal history. They turned the Book of Mormon into literal history. And all those who have put the Book of Mormon and Joseph Smith's history to the fact checker all know that they cannot be literal histories, just like the Bible can't. Too many errors pop up that cannot be explained other than to rewrite history and deny science and logic. We then have the church's own statement. The church and its leaders do not make predictions of the future concerning the date, which is Revelation, of the second coming. That's the Christian thing. because of the first creed of Christianity. Jesus failed, so he gets a second chance in the latter days. Now, because you've denied prophecy and revelation, you can't give a date, so somebody has to go in and add into the text. Do not add or take away. Yeah. To say that no man knows the day or the hour, the time of revelation. So this is complicated because the book of Revelation has a whole bunch of dates in it that now have to be denied. And many of those are in the Book of Mormon. So if the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints denies prophecy and revelation, from their own words, then they cannot claim the title of prophet and revelator, because it would mean they are false. Claiming a title, denying the power thereof, makes you false, by definition. You shall know a false prophet by their fruits or by their lack of fruits. Church will not produce any fruit. Thus, false. This is not complicated. I'm not being mean. It's them who say it. On the 26th day of November, 1923, after that conference for that fall season, Heber J. Grant filed in the state of Utah articles of incorporation after the United States had dissolved Brigham Young's Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints from 1852. That's when Brigham Young incorporated the name, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. It wasn't incorporated in Nauvoo. It wasn't incorporated by Brigham Young or Joseph Smith at all. Brigham Young incorporated the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in 1852. And the United States dissolved it, ceasing to be a religion, ceasing to be an organization, thus locking up and canceling all of the leaders of the church. Brigham Young would only claim prophet, seer, revelator, and president, but claim the keys of Peter, James, and John rather than the keys of Moses. Section 107, verse 91. So Heber J. Grant is not allowed to rename the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, because the United States said no. It is dissolved. It was a criminal operation and was shut down for their crimes. Perpetual Immigration Fund and incorporated in 1849. And so now he has to name it something else. And so the name of it is the corporation. That's it. And if you don't understand, there's this word called of. And so you can remove it to know what the root thing is. Corporation. And then of the president. And then of the Church of Jesus Christ, of Latter-day Saints. See how that works? They're all separate entities, but they're being combined with of. So the first one is the actual name. It's the corporation. And so a corporation needs a CEO, often called a president. Corporation of the president. Now, yes, Joseph Smith used the term president to preside. But in corporation, you're a president. You're the CEO. Corporate executive officer. That's what Heber J. Grant was doing. He is now the corporate executive officer, and he's using those who were members under Brigham Young's incorporation, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. But it's a corporation now. It's not a religion. Do we need to pull out the grammar books again? And so, as a corporation, it needs to make money. It needs to make a profit. So it says, we're going to use the former members of the dissolved religion as the cash cows. And so no more do they have any authority for votes in the church. You know, like to change the name of the church. No more do they have any authority to decide how to run the church. Because that's how Joseph Smith had it set up. He would have meetings where votes were taken. Unanimous votes changed the way things were. That's how the name of the church got changed in 1834. So what the hell is this section 115 doing in there? Joseph Smith violated his own rules and regulations? And just said, I'm renaming the church? There was no vote? No meeting for this? Joseph Smith just said it, huh? And then forgot that he had changed the name of the church with the first visionary account? Then went and published it in 1842, finally. Having all that time to make sure it was edited correctly, to make sure it's supposed to be Nephi or Moroni, because he apparently put Nephi still. And he had the opportunity to make the change to golden rather than gold plates. And he had the opportunity to say, oh, it was Jesus who I saw. I forgot to put in that he said his name was Jesus. He said his name was Jesus, and he called me by name. Forgot. So it's a good thing Willard Richards was around after Joseph died to make those couple of changes, not all of them. He had no authority to make those changes. And so the changes need to be changed back. The Joseph Smith Papers tells you what they're supposed to be. The Church of the Latter-day Saints, Nephi. Nobody else has authority to change those. So thus, because it is Nephi, Joseph Smith is correcting Doctrine and Covenants, section 27, verse 5. Which is why Willard Richards changed it to Moroni. And that's why we claim the Moroni statue is on the temples. It's supposed to be the Nephi temple, or Nephi statue. And so authority is kind of important in the church. Section 107, verse 92 says that all the gifts of prophet, seer, revelator, and translator belong to the man like Moses, who is the president of the church. Nobody else. Only Joseph Smith. And so all the different quorums, their presidents had the key for their quorum only, to do only the business for that key. That's the only authority they have. So if you're the mission president of the 12 traveling apostles, you only have the key of Peter, James, and John to preach the Jewish Book of Mormon. About the Church of Christ voted for the change to the Church of the Latter-day Saints. Otherwise, you're an evil-disposed and designing militant person against Joseph Smith and his church. You never bothered to go to verse 1, did you? And so, Brigham Young, having only the key of Peter, James, and John, has no authority to take over the authority of the whole church when Joseph Smith dies. Because Joseph Smith, in verse 22 of section 107, says, you need a vote. And it's a vote for 3 men. Not 1 and 2 counselors, whom he chooses. No, 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 no. And if you would read through the Joseph Smith papers, you would see that it was Brigham Young who made that change in 1838. So, yeah, there's a lot of lies by this church about how the way things were and what they are now and why they are the way they are now. And it's only because this is Brigham Young's insurrected church. That's why it's Brigham Young's rules and authority. He has none. It's all a sham. It's all a fraud. Okay, so knowing this, that the church is merely a corporation, from Heber J. Grant, 1923, means the first conference of this corporation, of which they have no authority to hold conference, began in the spring of 1924. The April conference we just had technically is the 100th. They lied to you, didn't they? They went back to Joseph Smith and purposely inserted conferences that did not happen. Just like with the Relief Society. There's a 20-year gap between Emma and the one that Brigham Young finally appointed so that she would rally the women to vote in Brigham Young's favor. More lies and cover-ups about the truth. The Relief Society of this church continued on even after the United States dissolved the church, because the Relief Society is just a woman's group. Remember, Brigham Young Sexist. Took away the priesthood and priesthood office from women. 17th of March, 1842. You can read it in the Joseph Smith Papers now, women. And then read about Oakes and what he said about you. He's next, remember? Nelson's about to die. Oakes is next. Isn't that fun? So Nelson is only a CEO, a business leader. Everything he does is business, not religious. He is a fake, a fraud, a false prophet. But he fulfilled prophecy. And so Rasband, as he's being called an elder, which is wrong. He cannot be called an elder. That's a religious thing. The religion was never restarted. Heber J. Grant only started a corporation. He's a corporate member of the board of directors. That's it, that's all. He has a voice in the corporation. Nobody else. And so the presiding bishop, he's just the corporate financial officer, the CFO. And so now you begin to understand the long list of crimes of Section 119, tithing crimes. And the one on the back page. So the more I go over it, the likelihood I'll come up with some more to add to it, just like I did for the list of mental cases of psychology, the name calling of psychologists. Taught at BYU. Thus the Church News video we're talking about. And so Rasband is telling them in an unauthorized religious meeting to Mormons deceived from birth, which is simply the corporate board member speaking to the students at BYU. You need to put it in the correct context. No fantasy land delusions. And he says, look to our CEO. Because he technically is a prophet too, when he's not allowed to be in section 107, verse 92. Only Joseph, only the president. That's what Brigham Young did. He usurped Joseph's authority for his insurrection, and then gave prophet, seer, and revelator titles to his 12. Notice no translator. And so he says, look to our prophet, rather than president, rather than seer. At least the Danites of 1840 to 42 put seer for Joseph in the times and seasons when he wasn't there, and called the name of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, until Joseph Smith was there, and then they went right back to the Church of the Latter-day Saints. All right there in the Joseph Smith Papers. You can see the secret combination, because the secret combination documents are still in there. You have to go to my academia page and check out the complete works of Joseph Smith, where it's only a first draft, so I still have to make sure that all of the Danite stuff were removed. But it gives you a better idea of what Joseph's organization was, even though it's like 900 pages. Just like Project 2025. written by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints through the Council for National Policy with the Heritage Foundation. And so, yes, this is a deceptive man who we now know is a wolf in sheep's clothing. You'll know a false prophet by his fruits. Matthew chapter 7, plagiarized in the Book of Mormon. Because the authors of the Book of Mormon thought it was important to include that in the Book of Mormon, so that you would know who a false prophet is, not be deceived. Elder Rasband tells faculty and staff, oh, it's not the students. Should have kept reading. Should have read this first. Nope, I just saw, look to the prophet, Rasband, got my church news. And so, this is worse. Because he's using the teachers to now lie to the students. As the corporate board member, he is stepping in and ordering all teachers to disregard the wording of the scriptures and lie to Mormon students. That's in the list somewhere. A revision of history. And the compelling through orders. And so, yeah, he's a bully. Telling the teachers to lie to the students. Did he beat his kids when they were growing up? See, I know this kind of parenting. I was born and raised in the covenant too. That's why I went to Rick's, to escape my family, because that was the furthest one north. I knew that I wouldn't get away with trying to go to Hawaii like my mom did, even though I can say, I would like to go to BYU Hawaii, Mom, just like you. No, it wouldn't work. See, Rick's, yeah, perfect. Parents would not even blink twice on that one, because they always do the yearly summer trips to do genealogy with the family, going all the way up through Utah, up the corridor to as far as Idaho, where all the family is located. And so then we would get dumped off at BYU, especially for youth, during my teen years. So I went to all 4 years of especially for youth, because there was no way in hell I was going to be able to tolerate sitting as mom and elderly ancestors or relatives chat about their lives. Dear God, there would be nothing for me to do. Because, well, we did have it required batteries, and my parents were kind of stingy on batteries, so once the batteries ran out, the toy was over with. We had to wait until 364 more days until the next Christmas or birthday. And then ask for batteries for Christmas. And the parents are asking, why aren't you playing with your toys? If you don't want to play with your toys, we're throwing them away. What a nightmare. And so he says, the prophetic governance. Government. Now, yes, you can say that a CEO gives out orders and people have to obey. It's his company. But remember, this church calls itself not a corporation, only to members a church, but hidden secret in texts and scriptures, a kingdom. That would make Nelson a king, not a CEO. And so now you can go and listen to the news talking about the church building more temples on land they own, and the lawsuit to get back Utah land from the federal government. And all of the money-making deals with enemies of America to destroy America. Way to perfection. I didn't put that up on the screen, but we can do it. You've made me do it. It's your fault. I'm not to blame. Page 290, 291. Just going to move it over to this side. This is where the church said, we've had enough of you, Travis, and no longer living in West Valley. As last year, on little Lissa's birthday, and also the dual prophecy of the dream I had had before the West Valley apartment. And so it has to do with Adam on Diamond, forged document. It's the Danites again through Brigham Young. Gone over the videos, because this is just repeating stuff because you aren't listening and following me. At Adam on Diamond, this is a prophecy, not a insurrectionist coup plot of America. Remember? He has no authority. The religion is dissolved under Joseph Fielding Smith Sr., who's writing this. No authority. Not a prophet. They don't even claim to be prophets and revelators. And so this now is their coup plot. And we heard about this from Thomas B. Marsh's affidavit to the governor of Missouri, for which the governor then signed the extermination order of Mormons. Because Thomas B. Marsh was led to believe by the Danites, who are the threat, that Joseph Smith was the leader of the Danites and was involved in a whole bunch of changes without a vote. You know, like the name of the church change. All in 1838. And so this is what Thomas B. Marsh was warning about, why the Danites are a threat to the United States of America. And here it is, right here, as he's putting in Jesus and Lucifer in place of the president of the church and the president of the United States and the presidents of the world governments. And so let me put it in that translation for you. Decode it, just like the Doctrine and Covenants was decoded by this church for the 1981 edition of the Doctrine and Covenants. Except they missed a bunch. You know, like Babylon in section 1, verse 16. Are you sure it's America, Bruce? Because it's talking about the temple. Seems to be it would be a religion, Bruce. What religion would that be, Bruce? Bruce? Where are you? I know you're in hell somewhere. Where are you, Bruce? I know you'll know no better then than you know now. Where are you? In this council, the president of the Church of the Corporation of the President of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, Nelson, will take over the reins of government. And because of Heber J. Grant, this second line does not apply. And Nelson shall give it to the saints of the Most High. No. It just stops at Nelson now, with those articles of incorporation in 1923. And so Heber J. Grant said, no, I'm not liking this. No authority from Mormons. It will not be given to the Mormons. Stop at Nelson. And so, page 291, by the voice of the priesthood, there will be a transfer of authority from the usurper and impostor, President Biden, to the rightful king, Russell Marion Nelson. Which is strange, because the baby name meaning is Lucifer, not Jesus. And Joe comes from Joseph. That's not Lucifer either. Nelson will then assume the reins of government. Directions will be given to the corporate board. And the corporate board, it goes on and on. But the members of the church at large will not know of it. The world will not know of it. See, this is why you don't get it. Biden quit. Kamala Harris is in. There will be no election. It's all a front to make you feel good about getting your rights back or taking them away, depending on which false dichotomy party you're a part of. But the saints cannot know of it. The world will not know of it. The government of the United States has handed over the government to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, the corporate board. And you didn't know about it. It was through the Council for National Policy. And thus the church wrote Project 2025 through that branch of the Heritage Foundation. The 2016 election put Trump in because of Steve Bannon, who is a member of the Council for National Policy. Remember the justices of SCOTUS? Overthrowing the Constitution? Making up new laws. Yep. Leonard Leo, member of the Council for National Policy. Ordered by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints to put them in and to get them to vote for the church's policies. The church is in control of everything, guys. Trump's not in control of anything. He's being played. He's getting kind of nervous. Are you sure you're not going to have me go to jail? Are you sure? Because Jack Smith just filed a new filing. Are you sure? Yeah. Don't worry, Trump. The devil always supports his own. Trust in the Lord. Nobody believes me. Russia doesn't believe me. China doesn't believe me. North Korea doesn't believe me. Saudi Arabia doesn't believe me. Islam doesn't believe me. Nobody believes me. Not even the FBI. Dear God. Of whom they are the ones that got compromised and shut down because of the church. Nobody believes. No, because everybody's voting for Harris now. We're going to get abortion rights back. No, you're not. They're gone. You're never getting them back. You're doomed. The Lincoln Project. You're that teenage girl. State Line is the title of the video. Just came out. Did the video on it the other day. Oh, dear God. You are not understanding the danger we're all in. The danger of this church, corporation. They are Big Brother, and they have no shame. All throughout Utah, if you see something, say something. It's like 1984 is rated R, nobody reads books. Most likely banned in Utah anyway. Part of the banned book club. And so nobody knows that Big Brother, if you see something, say something, comes from 1984. It's all over Utah. Big Brother's governance of BYU is its comparative advantage in the whole world. BS. As Rasband declares. Oh my hell. No. And if you've never bothered to listen to local news about BYU, my hell, where have you been? Every woman who goes to BYU knows the horror stories, that if you get raped, you get excommunicated and booted out of BYU. You're to blame. Remember, they wrote Project 2025. They were behind the overthrow of Roe v. Wade, not Trump. Trump was ordered by the Heritage Foundation, from the Council for National Policy, from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, to put those three justices on the court. That's all he does. He just recommends, and he was recommended by that chain of command. And then the Senate confirmed them. And oh, was that ever hilarious on SNL. And then Orrin Hatch, the model for Mormons, well, she's pleasing to look upon. I would never rape her. She also has a horse face. Oh my God. So no. This is the nightmare at BYU. All women have to go in groups everywhere for fear that they're going to be destroyed. And so, yeah, you've got that one guy who wrote a letter to the co-ed saying that she was immodest and turning him on, and that she needs to repent. That went national. She was layered, fully clothed, up to the chin, to the wrist, down to the ankles. What more do you want her to cover up? And then they threw in psychology to destroy all the science fields. Legal profession, medical, all of your hard sciences. Psychology is purposely instilled, like the Danites into Joseph Smith's church, to destroy them. Just like tares among wheat, to destroy the wheat. You cannot merge fallacy with logic, because your outcome conclusion is always fallacy. You can never produce logic when you introduce a premise of fallacy. It cannot be done. And that's exactly what they're doing to BYU. Every single field. Right, Todd? Dumbass attacked me on my birthday last year because I got 2 women fired at Gail Miller's concentration camp of hell who were ordered to keep me there. And so because I got out, the church ordered my brother to attack me immediately after. On my birthday, that bleeping bleep. I should have done it as a kid, but I was too kind-hearted back then. It's my fault, I guess. I didn't beat up my brother as much as I should have. I never beat him up, actually. I tried to put him in a figure 4 leg lock, and he screamed to mommy before I even locked it in. And when we were at the handcart company that my dad was ordered to run when he was a 70 there in Southern California, he was putting up wallpaper, and so that was the old wallpaper where you laid out the wallpaper on the ground and then you smeared the sticky stuff on it, and you had to let it sit for a little while before you put it up on the wall. And so it was out on the sidewalk out front, and we kids were told to get away. And so we were clear at the other end of the little shopping mall there, and somehow something was said that scared my brother and panicked him, and he immediately turned and fled. And I just stayed there. I didn't chase him. But he was so panicked that he just ran and slipped and fell on the glue. Not my fault. I wasn't chasing him. And then we can talk about other childhood memories. Back when I was in first grade and he was in kindergarten, going to Miller Elementary School in Michigan. And that's because of the reporter who exposed the Ford Motor Company, which left an opening in the financial department for my dad, as he just graduated from Berkeley, California, Berkeley University, with Wilfred Greggs, that I had forgotten the name of yesterday. And so there was a rainstorm that happened, and I had a dream about a tornado, because in Mr. Child's class he brought in a little tornado maker, and so I must have had the dream of the tornado because of that. because I asked my mom about the tornado. She says, I don't know anything about the tornado. What are you talking about? I asked kids at school, and they didn't know what I was talking about. My dreams were real. You need to validate my dreams. And so the shortcut of a little wooden plank bridge across the little ravine was all muddy and slippery. And the other bridge that was safe and up above, it was a bigger bridge there at the park, was further away. You had to walk longer. And so my brother was tagging along on the way home, and there was one other guy with us who lived on Paul Revere Road with us. And which is interesting, Paul Revere, the redcoats are coming, the redcoats are coming, the Danites are coming, the Danites are coming. And so he's going across the muddy bridge, and I'm, not wanting to. I don't want to get dirty because then I'll have to get clean. But my brother didn't understand that you can get clean. Still didn't learn when we were in Southern California slipping on the glue. That's why he freaks out over getting dirty. That's why he never wanted to go camping or hiking. It's because he would get dirty. And he never explained that to anybody, and nobody taught him correctly that you can bathe. You can wash your hands. Dear God. And so, I coerced him into going across the muddy bridge and slipped and fell in the mud and ran all the way home crying. I'm just going, how is this my fault? What did I do now? And so, this is seriously, dear God. But he made the mistake of confessing that the church threatened him to attack me. That it had nothing to do with anything illegal on my part. He was ordered to attack me, and he had to do it. Otherwise, the church was going to fire him. So, being the good brother that I am, notified his lawyer about that. And the lawyer went, oh, yeah, okay. You're welcome, Todd. Despite your evil mind, I still protected you. God. He never thanked me for protecting him in high school. Tiffany had came up to me and said that Todd was being bullied and somebody was breaking into his locker that was in the cafeteria and stealing his lunch. And so Tiffany and I went and hung out in the cafeteria trying to catch whoever was stealing, but the word got out. Oh crap, Travis knows, he's going to look for you. You're welcome, Todd. Anyway, this is what it's like growing up in a Mormon home. You can't have a good heart because everybody else is trying to hurt you. Your own family, your own blood, trying to cause you harm, trying to blame you for their inabilities. We're just playing WWF. It was WWF back then, remember? And so, I pushed him off the roof, but we were going to jump anyway. I was just fulfilling scripture prophecy from the Gnostics. So my brother went into sociology. It was valedictorian. was worthless. Because that's what happens when you merge psychology with it. It destroys your education. It makes you dumb because you're using fallacy. And all of these little girls who mostly go into psychology, I guess there's some guys, but seems like the most dominant sex is female that goes into it. Because they want to understand why they're being bullied their whole lives to cover up and hide and alter their appearance in all different forms and fashions. They're not good enough. Makes me cry. No. Science. Hard-based science. Using logical Socratic methodology to develop your research theories to be tested for confirmation of truth. It's right there in your scriptures, even in the Bible. It's called the science of agronomy. We will liken the word unto a seed. Gotta produce the fruits. So yeah, as I just demonstrated, he's a false prophet. Not just from the historical background that he's lying about, but also from his words. I can do it anyway. Every single way to expose him as a fraud, I know how to do, and I just did. And Mormons are still going to live in denial. They're not going to want to listen to the end of this video. They don't care to know the truth. They don't care to be good. And so they're going to keep spreading the lies as he's ordered the teachers to do. And you don't get it. Those bleep bleeps ordered my execution. Ordered the government of Utah and Mormons to order my execution. And 6 years of my life are gone because of that order. And I'm not dead. I got the receipt too, from all 15. All the corporate board and the CEO under Monson, 2008. Mormons have no claim to righteousness. Mormons have no claim to truth. This church is evil, and they're going to destroy the world, and everybody's letting them. And Nelson is an old frail man who fell last year, as who prophesied of it and revealed it? And here we go again. 9th Ave already happened, and here we got 9/11 coming up.